When you ask a ThinkPad enthusiast what the last great model is, you may get one of three general answers: the T60, the T430, or the T480. However, there is an overlooked giant that is my, and a small cult of others' opinions, is the true king of the ThinkPads, the W530. Now, before we talk more in depth, the W530 has its downsides. For most people, the large 15-inch display and the high power consumption is a big drawback, and the main reason to go for its little brother, the ever-popular T430. However, with each passing year, the hardware seems to show its age, and with this, we get to why the W530 has its place and following. The main selling point for the 30 series ThinkPads, those being the X230, T and L 4 and 530, as well as of course the W530, is their special blend of old and new. This series is the last compatible with the beloved classic ThinkPad keyboard, as well as the first mainline series ThinkPads capable of being fitted with a backlit keyboard. But it's not just keyboards. This generation of ThinkPad is extremely user upgradable, from the RAM to the screen and everything in between. Most ThinkPads from this generation are only capable of supporting up to 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM. However, the W530 can take a whopping 32 gigs. This may sound like a small and maybe even unnecessary upgrade. However, with each year's new demands for RAM growing higher and higher, only time will tell if that extra headroom allows this aging behemoth to carry on longer than its smaller counterparts. My machine is a fairly high-end configuration from the factory, but there's still room for upgrades in nearly every corner. The RAM is 16 gigs across 2 of 4 RAM slots. The screen may be Full HD, however, it came with the extremely disappointing V1 variant. The CPU is a very respectable 3840 QM, failing only short to the 55-watt Intel Core Extreme models, which are capable of extreme amounts of overclocking. The one thing my rig has going for it is the Quattro K2000M, the higher end and rarer of the two graphics chips available for these machines. This system is more than well enough equipped to handle moderately high workloads such as 1080p video editing, lighter loads of 3D modeling and animation, and even low settings modern gaming, barring select games such as Red Dead 2 and Cyberpunk, which give errors stating that the hardware is out of date. In reality, the K2000M is more or less a GTX 660M, meaning this laptop is plenty capable of running games from its time to medium to high settings, and even still modern games on low settings, although at times requiring a lowered resolution. Like any older model ThinkPad, the list of modifications is staggering, and this machine does not disappoint. For storage, the W530 supports two 2.5-inch SATA drives, one mSATA, one express card to NVMe, and if you count it, a full-size SD card. The CPU goes up to a Core i7-3940XM, which is fully overclockable given the Ivy Rain BIOS mod, or the slightly slower 3840QM with less overclocking potential, but with the upside of using 10 less watts. The RAM takes up to 32 gigs of DDR3. The screen really has one of two options, the Full HD V4 for matte, or the slightly more glossy V7 variant. I suggest staying away from the V1 Full HD screen. To my eyes, it's fairly abrasive. The keyboard can either be upgraded to the classic style or the backlit variant. The list goes on. There are more and more mods for just about anything, from the speakers to an external graphics card. While ThinkPads of yesteryear provide some people with a cheap alternative to expensive and underperforming entry-level laptops, they also give some an upgradable and rock-solid workstation that, in theory, will take a beating and keep up with whatever tasks are thrown at it. These laptops are truly the last of their kind, and we may never see the return of the classic IBM design philosophy again. Lenovo has slowly changed the formula, and with the push for thinner and lighter laptops, compromises have been made in nearly every area of the modern ThinkPad. With how stubborn the ThinkPad community tends to be with change, and the unmatched ability to hold on to systems far beyond what most people are willing to, the W530 may live on far into the future as the only usable ThinkPad left from its era. While I hope that day never comes, this machine has surely passed its prime, and I myself am happy to own one while it still packs a decent punch. Thank you guys so much for watching.